they mess with us sometimes on the scheduling because various football games or basketball games or who knows what's it's decide that today we're gonna sit down.
All right, I'm rolling.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you never been on a real set where they have to do that?
You mean with a real clapperboard and not just your hands?
Hey, it does the same thing.
So I'm just
We'll do the intro in there.
from there. I'll say.
Yeah, so
so
you can
I can
start.
start right after
Yeah.
the question. Okay. All right. So, what about that ice rink?
I defer all questions. That issue's already been resolved
Yeah.
by
There you
Sunday
go.
morning, so.
It's old
yeah,
news.
yes.
Yeah, tell you what, little
It's
one-
on ice, Don. It's on ice.
Good one.
Hey, yo. He's got the jokes. Come on, you get to be in here if you want. Okay.
If I'm not out in 15 minutes, you know.
All right.
Okay.
And we're already indoors.
They're beautiful. I have them in my house too.
Yeah.
I think ours are only like 12-foot ceilings. These look like.
Funny.
Hi.
You want to come in?
Yes.
Okay, come on in.
Is there room for me in
They
here?
said.
Oh, there's always room for Farley.
Thank you.
Whenever you're ready.
Okay.
Well,
I'm waiting for all that to settle down. You know what I mean? All right. Okay. Well, Mayor Kincannon, you won another election, another term. What does this next term look like from your perspective?
Well, the good news is that we have a lot of positive momentum in our city, and the same priorities that I had in the first term are going to continue in the second term, and that's public safety, addressing our housing crisis, creating great spaces, and working to create great jobs for everybody in our community.
Those are big.
Yeah.
I mean, those are big things.
Those are.
And can they be accomplished in 4 years?
Well, we always stand on the shoulders of our predecessors, and I know that my successors will continue to be working on these things. So those are big, broad priorities, but I can share with you some of the specifics that we're going to be focused on. In public safety, we're going to build the first new fire station that we've built in over 30 years in Burlington, and we're going to get our police force up to full authorized force, and we're going to continue to support positive reduction in crime. We've had a reduction in homicides 35% this year since last year, and so we want to keep reducing violence in our
What do you
community.
think is the reason for that? Because obviously that's a big thing to voters is crime, violent crime
Yeah,
especially.
public safety is job one. I think that we have a great new police chief, and I started the Office of Community Safety and Empowerment, led by LaKenya Middlebrook, and we are leaders in the nation on innovative, evidence-based, community-informed violence reduction efforts. So that means when there is an act of violence, we have community partners who can go and speak to community members to prevent retaliation and stop the violence before it happens.
At this point, are you happy with the trajectory and with the numbers?
35% down? Absolutely. Our KPD officers are doing a good job. The other way to stop violent crime is to catch the people who do it. So we have a really high solve rate. So when someone does commit a homicide, we are catching them and able to effectively provide evidence for our prosecutor to prosecute them. So our solve rate's really high. So public safety, we're going to keep moving forward on that, and we're going to continue to address our housing crisis, double down on the things we are doing, and then try some new innovative things to preserve affordable housing in our city.
Since you mentioned it, we'll jump into that. How do you view that, and can it actually work? Because it seems like some people, or a lot of people, want it a certain way, but that probably won't work, and it has to be another way to actually solve the housing problem, not having enough houses.
Well, we are lucky to live in a community that people want to live in, that people want to move to, and people are here, want to stay, but they need an affordable place to live. So we are addressing that, and we're doing that not just by the city building housing. We are partnering with the private sector because just in my first term, we have spent $40 million of city dollars, and that has leveraged $600 million of private dollars. And we've created over 2,500 affordable homes just in the last 4 years for Knoxville residents. But we need to do more. We need to build more housing at all price points, because if someone can afford a $500,000 house and there's nothing to buy, then they're going to buy that $200,000 house And then someone who can only afford a $200,000 house won't be able to buy anything at all. So we need to have more housing at all price points. I'm excited that our middle housing proposal is moving forward, and that means that we use the same amount of land, but property owners will then have the ability to, instead of just doing single family detached, they could do a duplex or a fourplex or a cottage court. And so you use the same amount of land, the existing infrastructure, but have more households for people who might want a different size house at different stages in their life.
You mentioned the number 2,500, which is already, is there a certain number that says, okay, this, we need to get to this number, or this could really help solve it, or it doesn't even exist?
Well, we have a lot of apartments in the pipeline already on Cumberland Avenue. UT is growing. They've added about 6,000 new students just in the last few years and want to continue adding more. But the good news is we have private and dorm developments happening that is going to accommodate that. It's just in process right now. So these are growing pains. The private sector is responding. The city, UT, Knox County is working on their land use provisions. So we have a gap, but I think that by the end of my second term that we will have the demand for housing and the supply will be in better balance.
Okay, so getting back to the police and crime, when you went and got Chief Noel, recently Beacon Center had a few zingers and said that, you know, in their pork report and calling out the city for the outside firm to find a new police chief and not being, I don't know, transparent. Do you regret anything you did, or are you happy with Chief Noel to the point where you say, hey, look, it had to be done this way?
Yeah, my process for hiring a police chief is more transparent than ever in the history of the city. Previous administrations, they just pick someone out who's already in KPD and say, that's my guy. I thought it was time for our city to have a broader pool of applicants. Chief Noel was the best applicant. We had a lot of public input. I had a team of people look at it with me. Ultimately, it's the mayor's decision, and it's the mayor's authority to hire members of my cabinet, including the police chief. I think the $42,000 we spent on hiring an outside search firm was worth every penny, and I think the community agrees.
I'm curious, where you think the chief is right where you thought it would be, or he's performed even better than you thought?
He's doing an A+ job. I couldn't be more pleased with the progress so far, and I think the best is yet to come. And my top priority for him is to continue moving along on all the things he's doing. Make sure that we are hiring more people to replace all the people who are eligible to retire. So that's a big issue. There were about several years, about 10 years ago, they went 5 years without having any academies at all. And so we are paying the price for that now. Plus, law departments, police departments all across the country are having a harder time recruiting new people. So I increased the pay, making it a high quality place to work. And it's a great place to be a police officer. Knoxville supports law enforcement. We have a great chief, and we have great partnerships in the community as well.
When you are done, and I know that's 4 years from now, so you're just at the beginning of this, but let's go 4 years. What do you leave, how do you leave it for your predecessor, the next person?
Yeah, well, I hope to leave Knoxville, you always want to leave it better than you found it, and I hope that my legacy is that we have helped transform our police department into being a world-class police department. I hope that we have taken full advantage of all of the resources through the bipartisan infrastructure law, because we want to be brilliant at the basics. So when I was out knocking on doors this summer, people, they care a lot about public safety, but they also want to make sure the streets are paved, the stormwater is maintained, that the sidewalks are maintained, that the parks are nice. And so we want to be brilliant at the basics, and I want people to say, well, Knoxville is a high-functioning city with a high quality of life. I love living here and want to keep here, you know, for my children and grandchildren to be able to live here too. So we want to make sure that we leave my successor with a sound budget and fiscal conditions and a great record of high-quality public safety and core services.
Just last question real quick. And I don't want to pin you on the most proud of, but something that you're really proud of that has been accomplished in your first term.
Well, I am really proud of our progress on housing. One thing I promised when I was running back 4 years ago was that we would have dedicated funding towards affordable housing, and we have that now. We've allocated a minimum of $5 million a year directly from the city to support more affordable housing. We have spent more than that every year because the needs are so considerable, and we're going to double, we're going to augment our efforts in the next 4 years. So housing is a fundamental thing that everybody needs to thrive. And so I hope that I can be remembered for partnering with entities like Justice Knox to move forward on making our community a more equitable, just, and sustainable city.
Okay. I guess I could slip in. You have other aspirations after your term's over?
I love being mayor of Knoxville, and it's a wonderful job for me. I love local government because I get to see and be with the people that we're serving every day. So my aspirations are to do a good job the next 4 years.
Okay. Mayor Kincannon, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Don.
And I'm going to re-ask a question we'll have it going because I said
Okay.
predecessor.
Instead of successor.
It's like as soon as I said,
Yeah.
it, well, now what do I do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't want to interrupt the flow. I just said, well, we'll get back to that one.
Okay,
That's the beauty of
Yeah.
editing.
Does that need to be?
No,
that one's
that's
on. Right.
you're
Okay.
okay.
I didn't know which camera was on that whole time.
Okay.
I didn't want to do a Bill Clinton and like look at the camera. So I can't remember what was the question. How do you want to leave it
Yes.
for your
Yes.
successor? So
Do I need to answer again?
no,
Okay,
because you gave a
Okay.
great answer. The whole time in my
Okay.
mind, I'm listening to you and going, "Dang it, I just said."
yeah.
predecessor."
I get
And said,
tongue-tied
"The next
all the
person."
time,
I'm
yeah.
like, there's nothing I could do about it. All right. Another question is, how do you hope to leave the city and the condition of the city and all those things for your successor? And we may or may not use it, but
Yeah.
at least we have it.
Yes.
At least give it a second of breathing
Ah,
time.
yeah. I'll make it work.
Well, she's gonna jump right in, so.
I said,
Don't worry about it. I got it. That's it.
Good?
Yeah.
It's nice when you have,
So.
it's nice when you have two cameras because you can do that kind of thing, but.
okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank
Sorry
you.
about